Well, hello there. My name is HW.
This is Mbritt.
And we're back for, look at this thing.
I know.
The Kemper Show.
It's a toaster.
This is, did you know, a lot of people don't know this, this is the prototype.
It is.
It is. This is why it's a toaster shape on the heads.
Yeah.
Because
this is one of the earliest prototypes from Christoph Kemper.
This is it. It's got 7 built-in modes.
It's got 3. It's got defrost, bagel, and...
Got everything right here.
Oh, cancel. Yeah.
Well, let's see what's faster. Can you profile your amp at home or make toast?
Ooh.
We're gonna try it out.
I don't know.
Thanks for watching the Kemper Show. Before we get started, we're gonna profile amps. Everybody can profile amps at home, but if you don't want to profile amps at home, you and me make some awesome profiles.
We do.
And you can get our loaded Kempers available right here at British Audio, where we are recording episode number 3 this morning.
That's right.
And it's like getting a brand new Kemper, but with a bunch of profiles built in.
Save you the work.
Yeah. And
We're
you
trying
don't
to
have
make it easy.
You don't have to go through and buy a million amps.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which packs you want. It's just.
What are you working on right now?
Just finished a bass pack.
Mm-hmm.
And
when's that coming out?
Almost immediately. I mean, I'm almost done. I'm just doing the.
We gotta get in here
player.
and do some stuff. You
I
know.
know.
I can be like boom, 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 boom.
I am not a bass player.
Boom. Me neither.
I had a buddy, Steve Cook. He helped me do it all.
Yeah.
It's his bass and his preamps and all that. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just got a question this morning from a guy. What's the best bass profiles out there? So
Right.
I know a lot of people are
Cool.
looking for bass stuff. I got my hands on a 57.
I saw that.
A 57 5E7 Bandmaster. It sounds like the Return of Jesus playing on the guitar. I mean, it is really beautiful. You know, vintage amps just have something. There's an extra 10%. I think it's really mostly the speakers.
I think it's just dirt.
Yeah,
Dirt's in the circuit. Yeah.
But they don't make dirt like they used to.
No, it's organic dirt.
They don't make dirt like they used to. Look, you can profile at home. We get this question a lot, right? You must get this question. I get this question a ton. You got any tips? How do I make great profiles at home, right? And so let's profile this Princeton. Let's give the profiles out for free.
Okay.
You adjust them. I'll adjust them. We'll have an MB and a TJ version. And they're going to sound pretty much the exact same because it's the same profile.
Yeah.
But we're going real simple. 1906, and this is what I would tell people. If you are going to profile at home, 100% if you enjoy the sound of that amp through a single mic when you play live,
it
works.
It
works. Look at this.
That's a good-looking toast.
Look,
dude.
that is good, even on both sides.
I gotta remember where I set that. 3.5
this one
is the perfect number. 3.5.
This one has your face on it.
Does it?
No. What quality programming at the Kemper Show.
Smells good too.
If you want to profile an amp at home
with just one mic,
and if you enjoy the sound of your amp live, you 100% can capture that sound with the Kemper and be totally happy. And you don't need to buy anything or whatever. You can capture your amp, and it's your amp. So I think there's 2 appeals of the Kemper. You can try every amp because they can buy profile packs.
Profiling the world.
Profile the world.
Yeah.
You've made a couple yourself. Or you can get your amp, your Marshall. In this case,
Shane's Princeton.
Shane's Princeton. Shane from British Audio, his Princeton reverb amp. So, single mic. If I'm going to use one mic, I'm going to bring this.
Yeah.
906, I like it. It's kind of like 57.
Some people like 57s, but there's a little bit of a low end roll off.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more, get a little more bottom to it.
And in the 906 defense, I forgot to bring. I literally forgot to bring
a stand,
a mic stand, and it just drapes right over.
It does.
It's the perfect mic.
And it's marked.
Yeah.
Front, so you can tell which
so you never,
side.
you know where you're at. So okay, we've got the 906 here. We just tossed it sort of in front of the
and we plugged it into the input, the return input.
So all you need: guitar into Kemper.
Cable from Kemper.
Direct out
into the input.
Microphone.
Into the return.
Awesome.
It's super easy.
Yeah, we'll have put that on the screen maybe so people can see it more clearly. But it's really easy to set up. Now, normally, what does the manual say? You want to put You want to select a profile that's sort of like the profile you're going to create.
Correct. Yes.
So cleanish.
Cleanish.
Clean, dirty.
If it's a blackface, get any kind of blackface.
Yeah.
If it's a martial, find a martially game thing.
100%. Do something like that. Check it out. Here's one of yours. This is the MB Viber Queen F1.
Yeah, which is one of the stock ones, I believe.
That's great.
So
What guitar is that?
This is my #1 profiling guitar. This is Tom Anderson Hollow T Contour. It's got all the body contours. It's got dings on it.
Yeah.
I've used this guitar on any profiling I do. I'll use this guitar unless it's a high gain.
Yeah.
It's a telly. You don't want that.
Sure.
I use humbuckers for high gain stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, this is my reference guitar.
Yeah. Love that.
These are my NS10Ms right here.
And that's yeah, you're right. Studio guys got
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to switch right over to profiler mode, right?
Right.
And we're going to get our choice. We can hear the Kemper amp, or we can hear the actual reference amp.
So normally if I'd be profiling, I would have my in-ear monitors into here, and this would probably be in another room, so I'm not listening through it. We're fudging a little.
Yeah, we're sort of doing this wrong. In fact, I would say that's the most important piece to profiling yourself. You want to get away from the amp so you can hear what the speaker's hearing, because the speaker sounds different here to here to here to here. So, but we're just, for the sake of science,
simplifying.
Yeah.
So we can see it all in one camera shot without.
We've hardly, dialed this thing in right. We're just sort of draping it over.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to prove you can get some good sound.
Oh yeah.
I really do. And I think it's relatively simple. Okay, so right here we've got Kemper amp reference. Our reference sounds good to us in the room with how we're listening. And here we go, return level. I'm just going to leave that alone, and I'm going to hit next. Now here I've got clean, no cab, well, distorted, clean, no cab, and start profiling.
Now this is a clean amp, so we could put it on clean, but what it does when it puts on clean, it automatically sets the gain to 0, sets the definition to 5, and it sends a little less sound through this. I always start with distorted profile.
If you, I find if you have an amp, something like a twin, that maybe you have upped a little bit, maybe you're running it on 3. There's some dirt in there.
Right.
And really, I don't know if you're using a telly or something or a Strat, you might be getting it super clean. And if that's your first profile and you put a burst through it, you might find yourself cleaning it up. I think if you want a real spanky clean, you can use that clean one.
Right.
But like you're saying, I most of the time just start on distorted.
To me, the clean is just for like total clean jazzy where you don't want any kind of overtones for breakup.
Yeah.
Or like the hard rock stuff when you have that really clean
chorus,
thin chorus.
Yeah.
But other than that,
because it's real clean.
Yeah.
But this Princeton is going to break up a bit even at 3, 3.5. So.
And it will correct it. If you're on a distorted one, it'll sense if it's a clean one. It'll tell you, hey, I made a clean profile.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's try it. This is where
the noises come.
It gets loud.
It does. We should eat toast. And that's why you go to the other room. Timed it. It's like 45 seconds, something like that.
Sometimes it goes longer and sometimes it goes shorter.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
Yeah. I
know when the gain is really high, you cut the bass down sometimes, and you get. Why am I eating toast? And you get this sort of really muffled like bass sound because there's not a lot of low bass coming through, and then it'll sort of hang on that sound a long time, almost like it's really trying to listen. But, okay, there we go.
So it doesn't give us any errors, so that's good.
Yeah, we did it. We've successfully profiled this amp. Now, I always find usually your high end is sort of dumped a bit. And refining sort of
it fills it back up.
So I'm going to press refine. I'm going to let you play. I was just bringing the mids up a little bit.
Okay, perfect.
On the secret.
Mids, yeah. I don't know how long you refine. I'll do about 30, 45 seconds usually.
Yeah.
I think the key I got from the manual was play a variety of stuff. Play everything from beating as hard as you can, play really soft, low notes, high notes. Even I do some palm muting usually, just because that cleans up some of the high picky attack stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's it, and then we save it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the magic is sort of done for you. So we can even compare these. We're not going to really hear the difference because this amp's going to be live in the room.
Right.
But we're picking it up from different sources. So here's the Kemper. Again, we're just hearing the actual Princeton, so identical to us.
Yeah, sounds great.
But look, maybe it's probably very close. So that is it. Now here we get a bunch of parameters, right?
Right.
And these are sort of I'll call these the geeky parameters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't get the definition.
Right.
We just get tube shape, power sagging, pick, clarity. Mm-hmm. That's all we get, you know? Why? I'm not sure.
I'm not either. I wish it would show me definition. That's the first thing I always look for when I go to store it.
Yeah.
But
I'd love to see definition, and then
I'm never changing tube shape.
Yeah, me neither. I don't.
I mean, I may add it if I'm really deep editing, but for profiling.
Something like this, the pick parameter is not going to do a ton.
Right. Now you'll notice here on the gain, we thought it was a clean amp when we were in here listening, but look how high the gain is.
Yeah.
And anywhere up in here, all the way up to there is really pretty clean.
Yeah. For sure.
And if we would have done it as a clean amp, it would have been down here at 0.
Yeah, so, like in a Tone Junkie pack, this would probably be number 2, and then I would sort of artificially create number 1, or I'll do clean for number 1.
Right.
And that's, for me, it's like, it's for funk, it's for jazz. Yeah. I really want a clean thing. And maybe more specifically, I really want a clean thing with humbuckers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, I mean, with a Telly, it sounds clean. With the Strat, it's going to sound clean. Just with even maybe a low output PAF, it's not going to sound that much. But, you know, definitely if you would get a Sir Modern, you're going to have a lot of signal going through. And to keep it clean, it's going to have to be really low.
And even at 0, it may not sound clean just because of the nature of a humbucker.
Now, what if we don't like this profile? What might we do?
You don't have to store it. You can start over.
You can start right over. If you do want to store it, you can just hit store. And
it takes you the 3 pages.
Yeah, 3 pages of all this stuff, which
they're called tags.
Which we will edit later so that we don't have to do it live on here.
We'll just put one little mark so we'll know which one it is.
Yeah, and we're going to hit store. And we're going to offer this profile as a free download. And that way people can have a TKS... What should we call it? Toast.
TKS, the Kemper Show Toast 1. I don't know.
Again, why did I eat toast right now? But we'll save that.
What do you want to call it?
I mean, this is hard to enter this in. I usually use a keyboard.
Yeah. What do you want to call it? I'll do the knobbies.
We'll call it TKS Toast 1.
TKS.
I think the real takeaway here is...
Don't eat toast.
Don't eat toast when you're trying to film a YouTube show. And right next to that is, you can do this at home. Now, I mean, like, your setup and my setup is going to be a little more complicated in that we're trying to use multiple mics.
And what does that do?
Well, you know, I venture to say that 99% of recorded guitar, well, I shouldn't say 99. The vast majority of recorded guitars you hear today are going to be multiple mic'd cabinets, right?
At some point, it became the industry standard to put a 57 and a ribbon mic.
Yeah. And I think, and then even in metal, it's double 57.
Yeah.
It's really, that's the...
or 421 if you want that kind of low thump out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that came out, that was, when the Marshalls got higher gain, Mike starts,
I was in the studio once, they put a 421 on the back of a closed back Marshall cab. So it was just picking up woof.
Wow.
I mean, so they just push in the,
right.
rumble.
Wow.
Crazy. So
yeah, I can't. Would that work? I guess it does. Mixing microphones gives you different frequencies that you can't get out of one mic, right? So live, we're primarily going to use dynamic mics, because they can handle high decibel levels, and they're cheap, right? They're cheaper to make. Yeah.
Use them as a hammer.
Yeah, and there's 57s from. I'm sure the very first 57 is out there being used right now.
Absolutely.
They never break. And there's all sorts of tricks you can do with sort of angling 57 to get the best tone. I think most people like it a little off the center and maybe a little off axis, and that's probably how most people do it. Although definitely you could have it on axis, but kind of off the dust cap a little is where people like a 57, and that's because it's a bright mic without a lot of low end, and so you want to put it in a spot where you get some mids back, where you
because if you go right to the center of the speaker, it's going to be the most high end.
Yeah, the most
further away you get from the center of the speaker, it gets a little darker and darker until you get right at the
so we've got this off center a bit,
right?
And this is a exactly where you might put pretty much any dynamic microphone. Now, like we said, this mic has a little more low end, and all that translates to what you're hearing. We're just listening to this cab in the room, this amp in the room.
When you're profiling, do you use studio monitors or headphones, or what do you use?
I use
monitor.
My studio monitors and a Friedman ASM 12.
Okay.
And why do I do that? The reason I do that is because Kemper hasn't come out with the new Kemper cones yet, and also I'll try to use that. But also, I just have that cab set up. I have my monitors there, and sitting in that spot for me is where I play the most guitar, and so it's where I'm used to how things sound. So for me, it's, do I have a matchless that I'm going to profile? I'm going to play some other matchless profiles that I've made,
so
and then I'm going to listen,
those
right?
Frequencies.
How much low end, how much high end, how bright is it?
Right.
That kind of thing. Then I'm going to try to get out of this new amp whatever it is.
Right. Because if you go cold without trying the other ones, they may be totally brighter than you're used to or darker. It helps to kind of get the ballpark of where your ears.
You have to have a frame of reference, or else it's like looking. It's like. It's it's like when you're standing in Best Buy or the TV store. You can see which ones look amazing because they're next to all the other ones. They all look good.
Right.
But sometimes you're looking at a TV that you could be looking at a TV that's $2,500 and it looks amazing. But don't go look at the 6K TV. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then you're gonna notice, the 25K one, the $2,500 one doesn't look that great anymore.
Right.
And you see all the little things. Sound is the same way. I think people forget that you got to have a frame of reference for what you're listening to, because you and me were in here. When we were, you were kind of testing out speakers and stuff for your signature cab.
Yeah.
And which we're going to get to on the next episode. And you were looking at speakers. And we were just in here trying a 12-inch and an 8-inch. I don't know if you remember this, but we all were like, the 12-inch sounded great, and then we plugged in the 8-inch one, right? And then that one sounded, we were like, it sounds thin. But we played it for a while, and it starts to sound normal. Yeah. And then I remember saying, now watch, when we go back to the 12-inch cone, it's going to sound too bassy.
Right.
And but 12-inch cones don't sound overly bassy.
Ears will normalize. I mean, I went to see Keith Urban way back in the day before he got a record deal. He was just playing bars.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I thought, God, the sound just sucks in here. And within 2 songs, it sounded great.
Yeah.
Because my ears just it started filtering out the really nasty frequencies that I was hearing, and just your ears normalize things. So that's why you have to really kind of do a lot of comparison.
Yeah.
And we're different. You use studio monitors and a Friedman, and I use my in-ear monitors. So it's just whatever you get used to, whatever your reference monitor is.
Yeah, and anytime you can hear, anytime you can leave those constant, you're going to get better results, I think.
Exactly.
You know, so if you haven't profiled before and you have an amp you love and maybe you want to sell that amp and because you're all into the Kemper now, I feel like that's a common thing. You know, people hang on to their amp. I did that for a long time. I hung on to a couple amps because I kept my Bella and my 90s Vox because it was like, well, I just love these things, you know? And the more you can do to sort of figure out what that amp sounds like through microphones and then try to replicate that and how you like it. If you don't have any other way to listen, I would say try this position, make a profile, switch the position up, make a profile, see what you like.
Right.
And then when you're somewhere you like, now I've even done this on a couple, because some amps to me are too versatile. Like I profiled a Mesa Triple Crown.
Lots of knobs.
So many. You know what I have right now that's even more intimidating?
What's that?
An 87 Mesa Mark III.
Oh, yeah.
Every switch is a push-pull.
Oh, yeah.
That does something, right? Could you
thick
pro?
one, thick
It's,
two,
yeah. I don't even know what half of them do.
Yeah.
They're just, thick.
I try to stay away from those because those scare me.
And they've got those big speakers. They're so heavy.
Oh, yeah.
They're so heavy.
I had a Mark III.
It's an
I had a Mark
exercise.
IIB. No, Mark IIC Plus.
Yeah.
80 pounds.
Yeah.
112 combo.
It's an exercise in how many tubes can we fit in a small 112 combo.
Exactly.
It really is.
Oh, yeah.
You know? How much could we put in here? But
I would stay away from most consumer headphones. So if you're just going to use headphones, I know most people can't afford expensive studio monitors, but my experience with studio headphones, anything under even $1,000, I've seen $600 or $800 headphones. If you look up the spec sheet with the frequency response, they're overhyped on the highs and lows because that's what people
that's sweet.
like to listen to music. Canned music sounds great through them, but they're not necessarily the most even flat. Like most studio monitors are better.
Right. Yeah, and you gotta you gotta be careful. I would say if there's any way to get used to listening live with them,
right?
You know, that would be the best because then you're hearing your amp with mics and your guitar.
Right.
Do you ever use your in-ear monitors?
That's all I use.
Yeah, just those, right?
Yeah. That's the only thing I trust. Because everything else, I will EQ it to sound good on whatever it is.
Right.
And I don't have to EQ.
Right.
And I've looked up the frequency graph on my UE7s, and they're really flat.
Are there any cans that you use that you recommend?
I have not found any that I like.
I don't know. There's these Audio Technicas that I know a lot of people swear by, but I don't have any first-hand experience with them.
ATF?
It might be.
I've got those, and they're okay. They're still mids.
Yeah.
And the reason they do that is because when they're selling them in stores, if you're comparing headphone to headphone, you're going to pick the ones that sound bassy and trebly. So it's a marketing thing that they know they're going to sell more if they're hyped.
Yeah. Well, this is how to profile your amp.
And that was that easy.
And how to make toast. What did we learn? It's faster to make toast than to profile your amp.
Yeah.
But it's still very easy to profile your amp.
And don't eat toast when you're talking on
exactly.
YouTube.
Now, I bet if we actually did a race, I think we could actually profile amps faster than we could make
right,
toast.
because we spent the first few minutes talking about it instead of actually profiling.
Totally. And we were on 3.5. Yeah. And this is a good color. You could go slightly lighter.
Yeah, I can knock it down to 3.
Yeah, and we can see what happens.
This is the tweaker. We're even tweaking the toaster.
I can't stop eating it. It's so good. It almost tastes like real toast.
It is real toast. All right.
Or is it just a profile of toast?
No, there it goes.
There we go.
TKS Toast 1.
Brilliant. TKS Toast 1. Well, I hope people go profile their amps themselves because it's super easy and the Rig Exchange really doesn't have enough profiles on it.
No. You can always use more. And the cool thing is you can experiment. It took what? A minute? You know, so you don't like the way this sounds, it sounds too bright, move the mic further away. If it sounds too dark, move it closer to the middle. Try different mics. If you want to get fancy like us and use, you can use a Mackie mixer or any kind of small mixer to submix 2 mics into the Kemper. The Kemper only has 1 input, so
here's what came up. And let's just talk through anything that you might do, that I might do, how you view some of these parameters when you make a profile. We covered a lot of this in episode number 1.
First thing I look at is definition. As soon as I finish the profile, I'll go up into browser mode and look at definition. And if I see anything between 3 and 7, it's usually, I call that a good profile.
Yeah.
I don't want to see 0s or 10s.
Yeah.
10s you're going to get if you're doing a high gain amp, and there's just no way around it.
Right.
But for this, 3.6, that's like a vintage Fender to me.
Sure.
What do you change?
Power sagging. I mean, I'm going to go first to definition. I'm always going to add in just a touch of this.
I always add a touch of both of those. Just crack them open.
Power sag too. Yeah. Just because it's a little bit like it's that sweetening thing. So it's nice to have a little compressor on there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It to me just makes it feel like a louder amp.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's to me what a compressor is emulating.
Right.
It's emulating an amp that's hitting its little wall.
It's the overdrive for your cleans.
Exactly.
I think somebody said that before.
That's good. Clarity. That's to taste. Salt and pepper to taste.
Yeah. To bias, I always turn to 10. No, I'm just kidding. I never touch it.
I never touch it.
Direct mix. If you're doing a funky thing, you might really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It kind of is working in this direct, clean sound into the profile.
Right.
Which is sort of, I think, just emulating like a studio trick of taking the clean
direct.
Yeah, and just putting it in there. That's not going to be very useful all the time. I feel like funk players and metal players might find that useful.
Yeah.
Volume. I bump up all mine about a decibel.
I do mine 1 to 1.5.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is way back in the early days of this, the profiles were louder. So some of my very first ones, the LDW, I have to go down. But most of them, for these to match my earliest ones, I just started going up. Now, if I would have started now, they'd be a 0.
Right.
But now I just bump them all up so they're all relatively the same.
Yeah, and that's an easy,
Because it's easier to do this than go back and readjust every single one I've ever made in the past.
Sure, and the clean sense can kind of get, and distortion sense can get some resolution there if you want to find something all around.
Right.
When I go back and I listen, every now and then I make small adjustments, but I try to leave them at 0. You know what I mean? If it doesn't sound right, I'll just reprofile it so it sounds good.
Right.
If it's too bright, bring that down, reprofile it.
Yep.
Maybe move the mic or something. Again, this was less than scientific, but I think this will show. I think people will use this profile, and then they'll realize, oh, that was just a 906, like sort of thrown right in front. And I think this is good that we did it this way because this is how most people are experiencing a sort of. This is how much care. The amount of care we took to put this microphone on here is how much care most people are gonna have when either a sound man or they themselves are gonna mic this thing up.
And some bars, they don't even bother putting the microphone in front of the speaker. It'll be over here on the baffle board or something.
I just was playing yesterday, and right before we were about to start the first song, I look back, and the bass drum mic had just like rattled until it had sort of rotated, and it was almost going to exit the drum. Oh, yeah. It's like in the hole.
Ours does that every night on stage. If you ever go to a Lone Star show, you'll see me walking back to the drum riser and pushing the bass drum mic into the bass drum.
Because the whole riser is shaking and it's moving.
The thing will just sit there and creep out.
Yeah,
with the bass drum
exactly.
And I'll push it back.
Yeah, it's a bad setup.
And I was watching a band, a friend of mine playing, and they did this. They draped over a mic just like this.
Yeah.
And over time, it fell, so it was down here on the floor.
Right.
And I had to tell the guy, hey, because I wasn't going to walk on somebody else's stage, but I told the sound man, and he went up there and pulled it up.
Right.
So this is about that much care.
What's the sound guy doing that he can't see the signal from a microphone has gone from in front of the speaker to on the floor?
I don't know.
I mean, he's doing something else. He's on his phone or something,
Yeah.
Okay, well, enough bagging on sound men. This has been TKS How To...
Can I...
Please.
Sound man, if you're out there and you see one of these green boxes...
Oh, they're out there.
You don't have to mic the amp.
No?
No, you just unplug the mic and plug this little cord right to the back of the amp.
You don't think it would be good to mic it here?
No.
You don't think it would be good to mic it?
I still hear stories.
What if we flip it around so the front is out facing the audience? You don't think that's a good idea?
I still hear stories saying, every time I take my Kemper to a gig, they always mic the cabinet. I'm like, just tell them to unplug the mic and plug it into your Kemper.
Yeah, well, because they're not looking. They're just, they're on autopilot.
This is the 21st century.
Yeah. For some people it is. For some people it is. For some people it's the 21st century, and for some people... tubes are the only way to get great sound.
That's true. And speakers, apparently.
And speakers, apparently. Well, speakers are for... speakers are still romantic.
Yeah.
You know, it's loud and you can hear it. And
you come to Nashville and they don't want to mic any cabinets. They want you to be direct because they don't want any stage volume.
That's very true. We were just talking about that. You go downtown and it's...
Oh, yeah.
You don't want anything like any sound. Even, you know, what's the world coming to when a sound guy says, "Oh, you brought a deluxe"? That's so loud.
Princeton?
A Princeton. How small can we get?
Exactly.
We can't get any smaller.
Yeah, we could get one of these.
We could give him one of these. All right. Well, I've been HW.
Michael Britt.
And check this out. It's a free download. We'll make it available. And TKS Toast 1, the Kemper Show. Hope you enjoy this profile. We'll put out 2 versions. We'll put out an MB version and a TJ version.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be the exact same, but we'll put in different effects.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mine will be nice and like Sunday morning ambient, and it'll be like an atmospheric thing, and yours will be like, you know, Twang Town. You know what I'm saying?
Can I make that sound with it?
Yeah. Actually, well, what guitar are you going to use?
Probably this one.
A Tele. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, well, what's different enough that I could...
Use one of your Sirs.
Did
I say it right?
You said it right.
Okay.
You play Sir guitars now.
Sir.
I'll use my JM Pro or something. Yeah.
Or that big hollow body you got, the Eastman thing.
I'm selling that. You want it?
No, thank you.
Well, I played your calling, so now...
I know, I've got a couple.
All right, we're going to have to... Michael brought a bunch of cool guitars, so next episode we're going to get into maybe some of your cool guitars and your signature powertrain amp, which is going to be...
And you're going to tell me about reverb.
I'm gonna make you addicted to reverb.
Perfect.
Okay, I've been HW.
Michael Britt.
And if they want to get loaded Kempers, where can they find them?
British Audio. Find them online. If you're in Nashville, come on by. You can try one of my cabs too.
That's true. You can turn up the reverb.
You can get a piece of toast.
I'm going to take a
Ask for the special toast.
Yeah. We should ship them with a piece of toast. Shane is going to have to be making toast in here before they ship out.
That would be awesome.
All right. Out.
Out.